The franchise that drafted him as a lottery pick,
The Sacramento Kings select Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State University.
gave up on him after just one season. Then the NBA media called him a wannabe all-star in his third season.
18 seconds left. Step back. Mr. Supposed wannabe fake all-star with the big miss. His last chance down 3 for the wannabe all-star.
Then this year, active NBA players voted him the most overrated guy in the entire league. So Tyrese Halliburton responded with this.
Carlisle's going to let him play. Halliburton steps back and hits.
He'll backpedal a 3 for the win, and goal! He got it!
Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 3/10 of a second remaining.
This is the story of a skinny point guard with a busted jumper,
From the hip, another triple.
who's been disrespected at every level of basketball, who rose from a 3-star recruit in high school to an NBA star, and in that process put on one of the most sensational playoff runs ever, which didn't just silence the critics, it broke the NBA. But before we get back to the video, a quick word from today's sponsor, Raycon. I just got my hands on a pair of Raycon everyday earbuds, and I'm already hyped about them. Whether I'm watching NBA highlights, video gaming, hitting the gym, or just relaxing outside this summer, these earbuds deliver premium sound and block out the distractions so I can stay locked in. Raycon's latest model is packed with features. They have a 32-hour battery life and a multi-point connectivity, so I can switch between my laptop and phone without even thinking about it. And if I forget to charge them, a quick 10-minute charge gives me 90 minutes of playback. The fit is super comfortable. They never fall out, and they come with different gel tips for a custom fit. I barely even feel them in my ears. And check this out. I've also been loving the protective case cover. It looks clean and matches the earbuds perfectly. But even better, it supports wireless charging, so I don't even have to take it off to power up. And if you're not happy with them, Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. No questions asked. The best part? Raycon gives you premium sound at half the price of other top brands. Right now, you can get 15% off by going to buyraycon.com/henryhoops or by clicking the link in the description. That's buyraycon.com/henryhoops for 15% off. Before Tyrese Halliburton was cooking NBA All-Stars and hitting game winners in the finals, he was a regular skinny kid from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. From the start, Tyrese had all the tools of an elite point guard: the court vision, passing, scoring, patience, leadership, and most importantly, the ability to put his teammates in a place to succeed. Yet, despite possessing all of these fundamental gifts, many critics only saw what they believed he lacked: that broke-looking jumper, the low potential ceiling, and his weak frame. Opposing fans literally ridiculed his 160-pound body during games.
Halliburton will shoot to the...
But still, as a senior, Halliburton balled out. He averaged 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, nearly 4 steals, and a block per game, leading his team to their first ever state championship. In that game, he dropped 30 points and went a perfect 18 for 18 from the foul line. Talk about clutch in the face of pressure. Now, you think a performance like that, leading the best team in the state to its first ever championship in half a century, would be enough to get him 5-star attention. Nope. Scouts ranked him as just a 3-star recruit. 27 guards were placed above him, and at rank number 172 in the country, when you look back, you can't even find him on the 2018 draft class list.
I was a no-star in high school. Like, I know people say 3-star, but I was a no-star, so yeah, definitely I use everything that I can to give me a little bit of an edge for sure.
Remember, most of these players ranked above him won't even sniff the NBA G League. But while others overlooked him, Iowa State took the chance on the state champion. And when he arrived at Iowa State, he immediately made them look like geniuses. In just his 10th college game, he dropped an unbelievable 17 assists with only 1 turnover, a small sign of what was yet to come. And in his second season, he didn't just get better, he exploded. His scoring average doubled, jumping from 7 points to 15 points per game, all while still averaging 6.5 assists and hitting over 40% from beyond the arc. Suddenly, that broke-looking jumper and unconventional playmaking ability weren't so funny anymore. Naturally, whispers started growing about this kid being special. But just as he was getting a ton of hype, he broke his wrist, out for the season.
Reminded of that as Iowa State sophomore guard Tyrese Halliburton, a potential top 5 pick in this summer's NBA draft, announced that he would be missing the rest of the season with a left wrist fracture.
Remember playing K-State, I go up to block a shot, and it takes my legs out, and I go to catch myself again. Just human instinct, you know? And I knew my season was over.
Sure, on the stat sheet, he was a dream player. His shooting efficiency, passing ability, and lack of turnovers, golden. But the injury instantly brought back those old questions. Could this guy handle a grown men's league? Despite the injury, his draft stock was still high. A lot of NBA franchises saw him as a top 5 pick. Almost everyone agreed he'd be in the top 10. But come draft day, multiple teams passed on him, and Detroit specifically chose another point guard, Killian Haynes, over him. So Halliburton fell to the 12th pick.
Sacramento Kings select Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State University.
That stung.
But knowing those comments, knowing what teams thought, of the teams that passed on you, was there one that felt the most personal?
For sure, Detroit. For sure, Detroit.
Still, he was taken 12th overall, and Tyrese didn't take long to show Sacramento they drafted a special talent.
Driving, kick, Tyrese, 3. Bang! Tyrese Halliburton!
As a rookie, he averaged 13 points and 5 assists and shot over 40% from 3. He played like he'd already been in the league for 5 years. By year 2, he was improving and putting up impressive numbers, becoming a fan favorite with his flashy passes and clutch shots.
Buddy, driving, kick, Tyrese, 3. Bang! Tyrese, he says, the young rookie. Tyrese, throw it down, young fella.
On paper, he was exactly what Sacramento needed. A playmaker, a quiet leader who elevated everyone around him. But then, it happened. Out of nowhere. No warning. Just a call from his agent. The Kings were trading Tyrese Halliburton to Indiana for Domantas Sabonis. The basketball world erupted. JJ Redick didn't hold back.
This is some form of malpractice on the Kings' part. This is some form of malpractice.
I'm so proud.
Many people agreed. This wasn't a trade. It felt like dismissal.
When it happened, it was like right before, I guess, everything like went out. Tyrese texted the group, and everybody's like, "Oh, you cap, you lying." And I was about to say, "Yo, why y'all listening to him?" And then, bam, it comes out, and it's like, wow. You know, that's definitely a guy that you miss.
Tyrese was a blossoming star, producing solid numbers, still at just 21 years old. To him, it wasn't just business. It felt personal.
Yeah, so I got a call from my agent about 30 minutes before, and he said, "I think you might get traded." I thought it was a joke, if I'm being honest.
So did Richard.
With you. Yeah.
So whether the Kings knew it or not, they lit a fuse on one of the NBA's most explosive revenge arcs. Because in Indiana, Tyrese didn't just take off, he took over. His first few games as a Pacer were a statement. Every pass, every pull-up three, every confident drive, a direct message to anyone who doubted him. Within his first week, he dropped 21 points and 14 assists in a win over the Wizards.
Who's actually, Chris, he's been a real asset. Oh, there's nothing Avia could do. Nice early that Bryant was coming to help, and Thompson got it free. Here comes Halliburton on the steal.
Tyrese.
He knows, he's fully aware of the time.
Beats Neto and got it.
Over his first 26 games, he averaged 17 points, nearly 10 assists, and shot nearly 50% from the field and 40% from 3, taking the Pacers from a losing record to a winning record. And most importantly, the entire culture shifted. Indiana was kind of a joke and hadn't had a true floor general in years, and now they had one who could score, facilitate, and control the tempo like a veteran. So Tyrese had proven the old team and the GM wrong, right? He just exploded in Indiana, silencing the doubters with every insane stat line, and proving that he was a star in the league. Well, not exactly. In the following season, around December 2022, Tyrese Halliburton was playing some of the best basketball of his career. He was leading the league in assists, shooting nearly 50-40-90 splits, and Indiana was actually winning games. But on national television, after winning a game, this happens.
Randall iced the game with all the free throws. Last chance down 3 for the wannabe All-Star. Let me keep it that way.
Tyrese Halliburton, wannabe All-Star. That's Wally Szczerbiak, a one-time All-Star who spent 10 years in the NBA, who decided that Tyrese just didn't belong. He was a fake, a fraud, not a real All-Star. But at the time, Tyrese didn't take it personal, at least not on the surface. He took it out on the league. The very next game, he exploded for 33 points on the Celtics.
At the other end, Halliburton pulls up.
That is a killer, an absolute killer.
Then immediately torched the Heat for 43 points, burying a game winner with just seconds left.
Halliburton for three. He made it with 2.6 left.
Back-to-back statement games, a seismic response. He didn't say a word, he didn't need to. The next time he saw Wally, he just stared him down. A few days later, Wally Szczerbiak goes back on air and says this.
Other note, I just want to address something that I said about Tyrese Halliburton being a wannabe all-star. I want to apologize personally to Tyrese Halliburton. He's a wonderful young player. He's definitely in the all-star conversation, along with guys like Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson.
That is sweet, but the ultimate validation happens a little later, when he makes his first NBA All-Star team. That season, he finished averaging 20 points and 10 assists, one of the most efficient playmakers. But even after all that, some critics didn't believe the hype. And at the time, it was coming from someone you wouldn't expect. In 2023 and 2024, Tyrese Halliburton wasn't just Indiana's starting point guard, he was the face of the franchise, a bona fide star. He just averaged 20 points and 10 assists again. He led the NBA in assists and was named an all-starter again. He earned his first All-NBA selection, and he even led the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Thought about a three, now gets a good look. Pritchard went for the fake. Halliburton shoots, scores. A three-pointer for Halliburton.
The league was on notice. Halliburton wasn't a one-hit wonder. He's one of the best point guards of his era. 2 seasons in a row, 20 points per game and 10 assists. So those 11 teams that passed on him in 2020, idiots. The wannabe all-star narrative the year before in 2022, trash. In 2024, he was the guy you had to build a game plan to try to stop. So coming into this year in 2025, expectations were sky high. The Pacers had added Pascal Siakam. Halliburton had won an Olympic gold medal with Team USA in the summer, so now he had an extra level of experience and confidence, and everyone expected Indiana to be a top contender in the East. Halliburton was even mentioned in early MVP conversations. This was supposed to be his breakthrough year again, but the season didn't start as planned. The weight of those expectations seemed to press down. Halliburton struggled out the gate. His shooting percentages dipped, turnovers increased, the Pacers lost several close, heartbreaking games, and the NBA media began to rip him apart again.
They're not going to make the playoffs this season.
Whoa.
I'm not high on them. And
To be fair, Kendrick Perkins has had some awful takes. But then came the ultimate gut punch. In an anonymous player poll conducted by The Athletic, the very peers he played against, the same ones who'd witnessed his rise, 14% of them voted him the most overrated player in the league. More than any other player. Rudy Gobert finally dodged astray.
It's really a shameful thing. Just a shameful thing.
This was public humiliation. Again, Halliburton didn't respond with words. He responded like all great NBA players, on the court. In March 2025 alone, he averaged 26 points and 11 assists per game. He led Indiana to a dominant 15-5 finish and clinched the 3rd seed in the East. He didn't just bounce back. Hallie hit a new terrifying level of dominance.
Halliburton on a push to the lays it up and in.
The anonymous player poll that came out today.
I did.
What was your reaction to that, and did it at all impact the way you played today?
It didn't impact the way I played today at all. I must be doing something right.
So how does a player average 20 points and 10 assists per game, win a gold medal, lead his team to the playoffs multiple years in a row, get labeled quote-unquote overrated? It's kind of simple. He plays in a way that breaks the NBA superstar mold, aka he plays without an ego. He passes when he's supposed to, shoots when he's open, and trusts his teammates when they have a mismatch. This is why his teammates love him and his opponents hate him.
Off that baseline, he'll feed, and there's Toppin. And again, for Halliburton, it's not about always by Kuzma. Halliburton pulls and knocks it down. The deep three, got it!
But behind this mentality, there's something far more terrifying for the rest of the NBA. Halliburton's numbers. First, let's talk about his sheer volume and efficiency. Tyrese has delivered 2 straight All-Star seasons, averaging 20-plus points and 10-plus assists per game. Only a handful of players have averaged this stat line in the history of the NBA. 14 to be exact, and even fewer of them have done it back-to-back. Then there's his ball-handling mastery. To open multiple games with 20-plus points, 10-plus assists, and 0 turnovers. Think about that. You're the primary ball handler, dictating the entire offense, and you're not messing up once. That's an offensive virtuoso on a supreme level. But all those numbers, as incredible as they are, doesn't compare to what Tyrese has done in the 2025 postseason, because this year, Tyrese has added an element to his game that we've never seen him add before, a clutch gene. What has got NBA fans and the media nicknaming him the Moment. According to ESPN research, Hallie has made 6 out of 6 clutch shots in the last 90 seconds, an unmatched feat since 1997. Just look at some of these shots. His win probability added during clutch situations this playoffs is around 2.5, which is higher than any player in the history of the modern NBA. Better than Kobe, better than Dame Time, better than Steph Curry. But what is most insane is his effective field goal percentage in clutch moments. That's 107%. That means he's effectively getting more than one made field goal attempt in the final 2 minutes of the game. To paraphrase Tom Haberstroh, who came up with the stat, it'd be like taking Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant player of all time, and giving him 14 shots underneath the rim and finding out Tyrese Halliburton in 2025 is more effective pulling up from the mid-range than this guy in the highest pressure moments. Hey NBA, overrate that. Now, I've written and recorded this video before the end of the 2025 NBA Finals, so stick with me here. Remember Dirk Nowitzki's one-man demolition tour in 2011? The improbable Mavericks charge through the Lakers, the Thunder, the Heat, where every round felt like, yeah, but he won't do that again. But then he shut down the best players in the NBA and won an NBA championship. Tyrese Halliburton's 2025 playoff run has got that same energy. If he wins and beats the best team in the NBA with the MVP, it could be one of the greatest playoff runs in the history of the NBA. And if he loses, it sucks. But I still think it doesn't take away from what he's accomplished, especially after being doubted, overlooked, and humiliated at multiple points in his career. Remember, in round 1, the odds were completely stacked against him. Every expert and talking head were saying the Pacers won't make it past this competition. The Bucks had a 2-time MVP, the NBA championship, and everyone thought they'd run through the Eastern Conference. But through a combination of injuries and Hallie just spamming pull-up threes, running the break and dropping dimes on Milwaukee's defense, the series took a drastic change.
Clock down to 5 as Portis arrives on the scene. Obi Toppin delivers a corner three. Here's Halliburton getting to the rim. 2-point.
Then in Game 5 overtime with the series on the line, he does this. Giannis switches onto Halliburton with 5 seconds on the clock, down 1, former defensive player of the year versus overrated point guard, and this happens.
Halliburton, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, Halliburton for the lead, 1.3 to go. Pacers by 1.
Milwaukee never saw 6 games. Round 2, Cleveland. Again, the Pacers shouldn't have stood a chance against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the best offense and team in the East. They had the current defensive player of the year, they are incredibly deep on the bench, and every analyst believed this is where the fluke ends. Halliburton averaged 17 points and 7 assists on 45% from three-point range. Game winner incoming.
Carlisle's going to let him play. Halliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Halliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart.
6 games, series done, Pacers roll on. Now in Madison Square Garden, the moment was big again. The Knicks were supposed to be the scrappier, hardworking team. But Halliburton put on a show for the ages, including recreating this iconic Reggie Miller moment.
A three for the win, and goal! He got it!
MSG's energy turned from hostile to desperate silence. They go to overtime, Halliburton shows up again, helping the Pacers win a crucial game that led them to the NBA Finals.
Halliburton weaving, driving, scoring! Goes on top, it's Toppin for 3, scored!
Pascal Siakam got the Eastern Conference Finals MVP for his consistency. Maybe that made Halliburton mad because it seemed like he wanted to prove the doubters wrong again. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the biggest game of his career, his team is losing the entire match. The clock is ticking down, and it looked over. But then Tyrese Halliburton, the skinny kid from Wisconsin, the overrated guard, did this.
Halliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 3/10 of a second remaining. An OKC, Tyrese Halliburton does it again.
Pacers win by 1, series 1-0 Indiana. Check out Dwayne Wade's and Dwight Howard's reaction to this moment.
Telling y'all on SRPredict.com.
I predicted that Indiana win game 1.
Now, we'll see how the rest of the series shakes out. Maybe the Pacers lose in 5 or 6 games. Maybe they win. I don't have a prediction. What matters is that the NBA media, the fans who mocked his fame, his shot, even his voice, everyone who was game planning on his downfall, they were humbled in the best way possible. Congrats, Tyrese Haliburton. You broke the NBA. If you enjoy these longer videos, please let me know by liking and subscribing. Until next time, peace.